All right, do-it-yourselfers, do you have one of these MAYTAG BRAVOS XLs? The second question is it making this noise? If you answered yes to both of those questions, today we're going to dive into repairing what's wrong with this washer. Very first thing you're going to have to do is go ahead, pull out the washer, turn off the water, disconnect the hoses, unplug the machine. Now, the first thing I've done is pull it out far enough to where I can tilt it back and look under it. I like using the channel lock wide jaw locking plier, model number 104-10. It'll hold the washer up while you look underneath it. I already checked behind it, and aside from regular dirt and debris that'll end up underneath washers, there's no major shavings or anything like that, so we're going to have to get in behind here to see what's going on. It does have water in it, as you can see there, but we're going to have to tilt this thing back to look at it. Make sure you notice what that label says right here. You want to have your washer unplugged before you work on it. Anyone curious, this is the model and part number for this particular MAYTAG. What rests in behind this is called a stator. It's the same thing that you'll find on many boat motors. And we got the water off back there, got it unplugged. What I'm going to do is pull it out here, got a toolbox in behind it. I'm just going to leave the hoses attached, and I'm going to put the washer back over here in the corner where it goes and lay it back on top of that toolbox. I'm going to do this that way none of the water goes flying out of the tub. You can lay the hose in a bucket, let it drain, but chances are it's still going to have water come out of it, especially when it's got full water inside the tub. So I'm putting the hose inside the lid, but then you want to tape down the lid because this is glass. You don't want it falling back, smacking something and busting. You also don't want the tub to tilt back enough to where water's running in the floor or water's running inside of your box right here, because that's where all your electronic components are, like your board. The toolbox is just about the right size for what you need. Now you'll be able to gain access to everything that you need to work on. This is what's referred to as a direct drive system, simply because it does not have a belt and pulley system attached to it. Usually you'll get codes like F7E4 or F0E5, something like that, which basically means it's not spinning right. Something's going to be wrong with the cycle. And that's when you'll basically start hearing a grinding and clicking noise like this. It'll do it whenever it's trying to spin or whenever it's sensing and trying to lock that clutch into gear to spin. And there's most of the time two common parts that fail on these. If you hire a certified technician to come out and work on this, it's going to cost you a big chunk of money. Just yesterday, I was going down the road with this lady who was thinking about replacing this particular washer. She was looking at some of the prices that they had in stock at local distributors. Looking about $3,000. And they said, yeah, we'll have your technicians come out and deliver it for free, but for them to hook up the hoses, it'll cost you about $150. And I'm talking about the hot and cold water line that plugs into your wash box and the dryer vent. First thing we're going to do is take this T30 torque screw off of this stator assembly. The outside cover is going to be your magnetic rotor. I can tell you one thing I'm noticing already is the one thing that should never happen is this bolt should never be loose. And this thing, I'm already spinning it with my fingers. So right there is a major problem as to what's going on here. But you're still going to need you a toolkit like this one from Duratec. So this video is not sponsored, but it does have everything that we need, and that's what we're going to be using. Go up here and find my T30 bit, then that bit rail right there. Then we just got to insert it into our driving handle. Needed to hook it up to a ratchet for a little bit more torque. You got that option as well. In the event that this screw is nice and tight, you need to take a screwdriver, find one of these holes right here, and wedge it in here to where you can lock on to the housing back there and hold it in place. That way when you're applying torque to it, it helps stabilize everything so you can break it loose. But in this situation, we just got to unscrew it with our fingers. Now this exterior piece right here is magnetically locked onto the stator on the inside. In order to get this removed, you need to grip it on both sides and start pulling backwards. Try to remove it evenly with force. That way it doesn't get stuck on either side. You'll feel a little bit of tension, and that's just that magnetic friction from the magnets trying to hold on to it. Wiggle it here and there. Just make sure you're wiggling back and forth, left and right, up and down. It might be one of the more challenging parts depending on how good it's on there. But there you go. Once that magnetic rotor is off there, you want to inspect everything. Stator magnets on the top side, the copper coils that's wrapped around each one, look for damage, burning, arcing, anything. And if you visually find something wrong with it, you should probably replace the stator. So want to check the rotor plates and the magnets inside of it for any type of damages. Make sure that nothing's loose, worn out, etc. That can cause the grinding sound. Might lead to it not spinning. Good news is, if you've got a relatively new MAYTAG, these things usually have a 10-year warranty on them from MAYTAG. Make sure to check with them before you go buying parts. Want to inspect all these wiring harnesses right here that's right near the stator for any type of damage, loose, fraying, anything like that. If you plan on replacing the clutch assembly, then it usually comes with the wiring harness, and you can just do it all at one time. Now you see all this spline right here. If you look closely, there is a spline drive that attaches to your transmission. That's what this whole metal box is right here, is your transmission. Hooks into the agitator, all that kind of stuff inside the tub. Looking inside the magnetic rotor here, it's a little bit different than some, but you can see that everything is dirty. It's got some grime and dust around it, kind of like brake dust if you ever change rotors. You want to clean all this up, inspect it a little bit more thoroughly. Aside from it being dirty, it does appear to be in decent condition. I also recommend that you inspect the spline to make sure that there's no damage or anything like that. Also inspect internal spline on this to make sure none of the teeth are worn down. Take your bolt and go ahead and thread it just a few threads back into this. That way you can lift up and down on this, push in and out, and make sure that nothing internally is wobbling loose. I'm going to go ahead and start unplugging the wiring harnesses here. Push back on these clips. Gently pull back on it. We got a 10mm right here that's hooked into the transmission body, and it's basically holding this bracket. So you can loosen it up, get in behind here. You got two little tabs on each one of these. You're going to want to push in and up on it and loosen one side, then go to the other side, push in and up, and then pop each one of these harnesses out of here. Like you can see right here, push up. Now you want to get to the back side, do the same thing, push in and up, and you should be able to pull it out there relatively easy. Right here, there we go. Now that bracket is loose, Everything's out of the way. We just tighten it back up. No need to take it all the way off there. It frees up our harness. Look at this assembly right here. In total, you've got 6 different bolts. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 of those are going to hold the clutch to the tub, and 3 are holding the stator to the tub. 2 separate parts, but they're in conjunction working together, so they're married together. Take note that the clutch can only be installed one way whenever you're putting in a new one. So you can mark this if you want to before you take it out. There is going to be some small studs that'll help you align it either way. All these are going to be 7mm bolts, and they're the exact same length and size. We're going to get our 7mm socket wrench and start taking apart the magnetic clutch and stator assembly. Now, it doesn't really matter in which rotation you take these off, but I'm going to loosen them all up. That way I can just take the extension here, and I can start zipping them out by hand because it's a little bit faster. And there's about how long all of them are going to be. When we get to the last one, I would recommend holding on to the magnetic clutch and stator. That way it don't just fall off. You can remove the last bolt. You can remove the whole piece as one. Like so. Remember which side is the top side, which side is the bottom, and lay it down nice and flat on the ground. The outside here is your stator, and this is the actual clutch. As you can see, it pops up out of here. The wiring harness goes over here to the back side. We will take a look at that in more detail here in a minute. Now you're going to be dealing with the slider ring and clutch assembly mechanism. This one can be a little bit of a pain in the butt because it does have a retaining ring on there like the old school round head ratchets would have. Now we're going to be focusing on what is 90% of the problem, which is the slider ring and clutch assembly mechanism. This particular mechanism is spring loaded, as you can see right here. This is basically made out of nylon quality. It's not great because it's microscopic, which means it'll absorb moisture. It'll cause it to slide off during use. After 2 to 5 years of use and abuse, this thing will slowly start sliding off of it, the magnet will. That's what's going to cause some of your biggest problems. On top of the teeth on the inside of this, that'll usually wear out. Grinding, clicking sound that you hear is going to usually be this thing right here moving up and down, and these teeth trying to lock into the clutch and stator. Before you remove this, take note that the little ridge teeth right here is facing the outside towards you. That's how you're going to want to install the new one. Magnet portion of this is the ring that's actually on the outside itself. Where that shifts or slides off, it's not going to let it run right. We're going to take this off here, but first you need to get yourself a pick set. First thing you got to do is get that retaining ring off here. I found the end of it right here. Basically a cool spring that's flat. Take it, put it inside where the sprocket teeth are. And I'm going to pull down while pulling out, and that's going to pull it away from those teeth. Now, once you get it out here, you see right there, I'm in behind it on the outside. You do it just like you would old round head ratchets. You take it and you spin it all the way around, and it slowly pulls it away from the teeth. See right there? It pops it out, pops it down. Yep, nice and easy. Go all the way around it again, and as you go all the way around that spline, it pops it loose. Now you're gonna have your spring and steel right there. That is, you're gonna keep all that together, and then this will slide right off here. Now that doesn't look like the teeth are wore out at all. So it might have just been a loose bolt on this one. It's exactly how easy it is to take this off here and to reassemble it. You do the exact same thing in reverse. You put all this stuff back on there, you align everything, you put it back in place. Because the biggest problem that this particular washer's having is the fact that the magnet has slid down. You see that? That's wore out. That is what's wrong with this one. It's not necessarily the teeth itself, but it's the fact that this thing is chipped and broken and the magnet has slid down. That's the entire problem with this. Now there's no real good way to deal with the clutch assembly on this, but you can clearly see that that is a wiring harness that sits into place on this assembly, and this assembly comes out this way. Before you pull that out, if you want to feel comfortable about yourself, take a Sharpie and mark it where it goes in at. That way you know where everything aligns. The wiring harness, for one, is still going to be here when you pull this one off. The problem is you got a tab over here, so you need to pull that wire out of that tab. That way you can safely remove the harness to the clutch itself. Looking at it here, this one goes to the clutch, so all you got to do is just barely pry back on that, and you start pulling back on this. And right there you are. It pops it out. You didn't break the teeth. Now you can safely flip this around right here, and you can remove it. And right there is your clutch. So if you need to replace the clutch, that's how you're going to do it. When you get the new one, you put it right back in place. You align it where everything is supposed to be at right here, and you put it back inside that rail. Even though the teeth look good on the inside of this, what you need to look for is the teeth on the outside of this. And if you turn it to the side, you can clearly see where this is broke right here. So the magnet has definitely slid off, but there's also wear patterns on the outside of those teeth. And where does this fit at? Well, whenever that spring engages and the clutch engages, it's going to lock into place right here. And then all this works together with the stator, with the clutch, so it'll engage up and down with that spring assembly and the magnetic field whenever it needs to lock and turn into place. So whenever you're getting ready to spin out, it should lock this in, and it should turn the entire thing. The problem is where that bolt was loose, it wore the teeth out on the actual rotor housing itself, and it wore the teeth out on this. So for the best repair, this needs to be replaced, and that definitely needs to be replaced. Even though the internal clutch and stator might very well be good, when you dive this far into it, you might as well replace the whole thing to ensure that you've done it right. Otherwise, you put a brand new one in where the teeth on this is wore out a little bit, chances are anything happen in the future, you're going to be making this repair again. That's why I recommend the very first moment that you hear any kind of clicking or grinding sound, you immediately stop the washer, tilt it back, and you can reach underneath there with a T30 torque screw and make sure that that bolt is tight. If not, this could very well be the problem that you're getting ready to experience. At the very least, this will be a problem, and that will be the easiest fix without you having to replace everything else that goes along with it. Because the teeth on this should be flush with the top of this rim, and they're not. They're mangled up a little bit where this is made from plastic, and you got all that force in behind it trying to force it, and it just barely has to raise up there to lose its grip, and right there's why it's not spinning. Now here's the basic quote on what it will cost for a technician to come out and do this, and it might vary depending on your area. Doing it yourself, you're only going to be out the cost of the parts, and that's going to save you a ton of money depending on where you get the parts. And we're going to see what the lady wants to do as far as the repair goes on this. Does she want to repair it? Does she want to replace it? It's up to her. Right back with an update. The lady said that she's thought about this, and she just really wants to get her a new washer and dryer anyhow. So I'm going with her to make some recommendations, help her get hooked up with one. And we're going to go ahead and reassemble this thing because she plans on ordering the parts because it's cheaper than going and getting used parts from a local supplier. When those parts come in, we'll go ahead and fix this thing up for her. She's going to put it in storage. That way, whenever her daughter gets a place, she'll have herself a new washer and dryer practically. So let's show you how this reassembles, because we're going to reassemble it and take it out of here until the new one comes in, and then we'll put the new parts on for her. So I'm going to go ahead and mount the clutch slider to the spindle here. Then we'll take our spring, mount it in place, and the tricky part's going to be putting the retaining ring back in. Now this isn't going to be as bad as it looks. If you look on the spindle shaft itself, it's got little notches cut out. Now what you need to do is pull back on that retaining ring on one side. It's kind of like a key ring, but it's really thin. You pull back on it, get it started in that notch, and then you push in, and as you push in, you hold it in place on the top and work your way all the way around with a pick. You could take the pick, slide it in the groove, pry back on it, and it pops it in place, and then you're good to go. Now once that's in place, pull back and forth on it to make sure that it's not going to pop off there and everything is secure. Now here's your up close look as to what this should look like. All you got to do, like I said, is take this pick, slide it in there, push back on it, and it'll help lock it into place as you roll around. Now you need to take your magnetic clutch and stator and put it back together the way it was when you took it apart. Make sure that wiring harness is secured inside that channel. Now you want to align the bolt holes, but you also want to line this up the way it come off. You want the wiring harness to be in the same direction as the mounting bracket that the wiring harness locks into, which is going to be that bottom right corner, about the 4 o'clock position. Now pick up your 7mm bolt, run one through the clutch, which also helps hold the stator in place, and do the same thing on the other side. Now you can go through here once it's held in place and start all of these by hand and run them in snug. Or you can take your 7mm socket and extension, because it will help you speed up this process. Now you just need to hook it to your 1/4" drive ratchet and tighten everything down, just don't over tighten it. We'll go ahead and get our wiring harness in place here. You pull that mounting bracket up, there's a little hole that's already drilled out inside the transmission housing. You slide that in place, then take your white plug, put it on top, the black plug, put it on the bottom, plug in the wires, take your 10mm socket, tighten down that bracket. Now you need your magnetic rotor cover. You want to line up the spline on the center of the shaft, make sure you're in front of it nice and even, and it should slide right back in place. Grab your T30 torque screw, start it by hand. You could put a T30 bit inside of a driving handle like I am here to get it nice and snug, but if you want to make sure it's tightened down with some torques, take a screwdriver, run it through the housing where it bucks up against the transmission on the tub. That way you can tighten it down nice and tight with the driving handle. Then if you want to tighten it down more, just reach for a ratchet, get your 1/4" bit adapter, put the Torx bit in it, and then tighten it down with a ratchet nice and snug. Now I recommend making sure it's nice and tight, just don't over torque it. Now we're going to get this thing stood up, put it back in place, turn the water on, plug it in, and see if it helped it any at all, because she can use it to wash a few loads before she replaces it. As you can see, it is locked in and spinning, so it'll work till she gets the parts in, which is a good thing, or until she replaces it, which is still a good thing because she's gonna fix it up and give it to her daughter. There's a manual that is built into these. If you have one and nobody's ever tapped into it, you own it brand new, it'll be in behind your control board up top. A lot of companies moving toward AI technology because they want to eliminate your ability to do it yourself. Other companies want to incorporate AI technology, that way you can hook Bluetooth up to it and give you all the information you need to do the part changing yourself. If this video helped you out, make sure you comment down below. Otherwise, pop that clutch, subscribe, follow along on these social media platforms, and stay tuned for more.